If you've ever thought about travelling alone and then instantly felt this list of fears rising up in you, you're not alone. Over the past few weeks, I've been sharing some of the common fears that women face when they're considering travelling alone. This isn't to convince you to do it, it's just to talk you through them all from somebody who has experienced every single one regularly. When I first started travelling alone, it certainly didn't come from a place of confidence. I'd just lost my husband and I felt really lost. I suddenly found myself in a life that was completely different from the one I'd had. For almost 20 years, I'd always travelled with somebody by my side. And all of a sudden, he wasn't there anymore. So I understand what it feels like to sit with these fears. I have experienced it and I've worked my way through every single one. For starters, there's always this underlying fear about safety, or what happens if something goes wrong. What if I get lost? What if something happens? What if I can't handle it? I felt every single one of those. But what I've learned over time is it's not about eliminating all of these fears. It's about trusting and knowing yourself and learning everything that you're capable of. You figure things out, you adapt, and most importantly, from my perspective anyway, you ask for help. And getting lost or things not quite going to plan ends up being part of that experience. Certainly, when things have gone wrong, they're the most memorable moments that I always remember for years and years to come. It's part of the experience. It's not necessarily something that ruins everything. Another of the biggest fears is loneliness. And I certainly aren't going to pretend that that never happens, because it absolutely does. But what has surprised me time and time again is that what starts off feeling like loneliness actually becomes something else. It becomes space. It becomes connection. Sometimes it can even become peace. I remember how uncomfortable eating alone felt at the beginning. But eventually, through experience and doing it time and time again, it started to feel like actually the most grounding part of my day. And trust me when I say alone and lonely are absolutely not the same thing. There's also this quieter fear about how others might see you. What will people think? Will I be out of place? Will I feel exposed? And when you step out of your normal life, you absolutely do feel different. But when you do feel that vulnerability, it's also when something inside shifts. You start to care less about how you're perceived and more about how you feel. Then there's that fear that you won't enjoy it, that maybe you've built it up to be something that it actually just isn't at the end of the day and in reality. And the truth is, not every moment is amazing. But that doesn't mean in any way that it's not meaningful. Travel, in my opinion, isn't about everything being perfect and Instagram ready. It's about having the experience. And it's about learning so much more about yourself as you do. And in midlife in particular, there are other fears that come to the fore. Am I too old to do this? Is it too late? Where do I even begin? But what I've seen again and again is women starting in their 40s, 50s, 60s and beyond. Because it's never too late. It means it's finally the time. The hardest part in all of it isn't about the travelling. It's actually just taking that first step. You don't have to be fearless to travel alone. You don't have to have everything figured out. And you don't have to silence every single fear before you begin. Those fears don't mean you can't do it. They just mean that it matters to you. And maybe, just maybe, you're more ready than you think. If you're in that place where the pull to do this is strong, but then so are the fears that are potentially holding you back, and you really don't know where to start, that's exactly why I created my Find Your Way program. But for now, sit with the idea, maybe have a look at the link below And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks for joining me on Sue, Where, Why, What.